Okay, so now we will be seeing the question number 9, that is presumption of culpable mental state. Presumption of culpable mental state. Culpable mental state defines liability. It is critical in criminal law. Presumptions aid in evidence assessment, often necessary to prove mens rea, assume knowledge of the offense, assumes intent, recklessness, or negligence, integral part of customs law, facilitates prosecution under Customs Act, relevant under foreign exchange laws. Presumption varies at offense nature. Culpability may involve intentional action. Criminal liabilities requires mens rea, affects sanctions in legal proceedings. Customs officers enforce culpability laws, prevents legal loopholes for offenders. Culpability ensures fair legal process, ensures accountability for criminal conduct. Criminal intent presumed under laws protect against unjust punishment. Presumptions simplify enforcement of justice. Types of presumptions in law. Statutory presumptions defined by specific laws. Rebutable presumptions can be disproven by evidence. Irrefutable presumptions cannot be challenged in court. Presumptions of law, legal inferences for facts. Presumptions of facts, inferences based on circumstances. Presumption of knowledge of illegal activity. Presumption of causation, causal link to the offense. Presumption of intent, purpose behind committing an offense. Presumption of recklessness, gross negligence or disregard. Presumption of willful misconduct, intentional wrongdoing by parties. Presumption of failure to declare, non declaration of goods. Presumption of smuggling goods for illegal export import. Presumption for illegal foreign exchange, violation of FEMA provisions. Presumption in case of confession, guilt inferred from confession. Presumption regarding documents, legal documents assumed authentic. Presumption in corporate liability, directors or officers responsible. Presumption of non-compliance, non-adherence to legal requirements. Presumption of deficiency in duty, shortage of customs declaration. Presumption of currency violation, misuse of currency or transactions. Presumption in relation to contraband goods involving prohibited items. Legal framework for presumptions of culpable mental state. Customs Act 1962 includes presumptions. Foreign Exchange Management Act includes provisions. Section 138 of Customs Act applies. Section 1043 of Customs Act. Section 5 of FEMA presumes legal presumptions for foreign exchange. Section 14 of Customs Act provides framework. Presumption of knowledge under FEMA. Court decides mental state presumptions. Customs duties compliance required. Strict compliance with export laws prohibited. Goods presumed knowingly exported. Section 103 of Customs Act presumption. Section 114A of Customs Act governs rules of evidence aid presumption. Government provides guidelines on culpability presumption. Assist in providing guilt. FEMA Section 8 governs penalties. Presumption varies by offense seriousness. Prosecutions rely on mental state presumptions. So, presumptions in specific customs and foreign exchange violations, import of prohibited goods, knowledge of illegal goods, smuggling, culpability for smuggling activities, undervaluation of goods, deliberate misrepresentation of value, misuse of duty exemption, knowing misuse of exemptions, non declaration of currency, intentional failure to declare illegal export, culpability in illegal export transactions, failure to declare foreign currency, presumed intent for illicit activity, violation of transfer pricing rules, intention to evade taxes, violation of FEMA for foreign remittance, knowledge of unapproved remittance, violation of FEMA for imports, failure to comply with regulations, violation of FEMA of imports, failure to comply with regulations, violation of customs duty regulations, intentional evasion of duties, conciliation of goods, intentional hiding of goods, falsification of export documents, intent to mislead customs, failure to repatriate export procedure proceeds, deliberate withholding of funds, smuggling gold, precious stones, intentional smuggling for profit, money laundering through exports, presumed knowledge of laundering schemes, violations of shipping regulations, knowing a disregard for rules, illegal export of restricted items, presumed knowledge of restrictions, falsification of bill of lading, intent to deceive authorities, unreported cross border transactions, presumed intent to avoid reporting. Examples of presumptions of culpable mental state: smuggling of goods across borders, undervaluation of goods in declaration, non declaration of currency during travel, violation of foreign exchange remittance, conciliation, concealing goods to avoid duties, falsified export, documentation to mislead, export of contraband in items, knowingly exporting without necessary permits, non repatriation of export proceeds, deliberately misuse of duty drawback schemes, supplying goods in a restricted categories, failure to report foreign exchange transactions, evading taxes through misrepresented invoices, violating import quotas, knowingly concealing illegal foreign assets abroad, non payment of export duties, intentionally smuggling gold or precious metals, under invoicing goods to avoid duties, wrongful use of special export schemes, illegal trading of restricted goods. Relevant case laws: Case Union of India versus Dr. Suri, offender accused of undervaluing goods, customs presumed intentional undervaluation, court upheld presumption of culpability, mental state inferred from actions, court clarify the need for knowledge, customs must prove intentional undervaluation, offender's knowledge of undervaluation, presumed case emphasize compliance with valuation rules, further burden of proof on customs officers are legally empowered, presumption of mental state applied, presumed intent to conciliation ruling confirmed strong presumption standards, case defined intent and knowledge, law presumed actions demonstrate knowledge, duty evasion requires awareness, judicial review confirms presumption validity, customs must prove intentional evasion, case reinforced presumption and undervaluation. Case law 2, State of Maharashtra versus Rajesh Kumar, accused arrested for unlawful export, customs presumed deliberate knowledge of contraband, court applied presumption of intent, culpability assumed based on action, smuggling violations assumed intentional, case clarified presumptions and customs no need for direct proof, court emphasize intent for contraband, presumption valid in customs offense, offender failed to challenge presumptions, courts assume knowledge in violation, customs burden shift to defendant, court confirmed customs powers, upheld custom officers' discretion in enforcing presumption, ruling on presumption of knowledge, case defined mental state requirement, judgment confirmed duty of compliance, presumption work in favor of enforcement, judicial review validated presumption principles, conclusion, presumption simplifies prosecution in customs, culpability assumes aid enforcement, legal system supports presumption practices, mental state inferred from states, presumptions ensured fair enforcement practices important for customs officers' work, strengthens case against violators, presumed knowledge assists legal proceedings, customs duty violations assumed intentional, presumptions aid efficient law enforcement, ensures effective prosecution of offenders, presumption safeguards against legal loopholes, legal compliance depends on awareness, presumption upholds integrity of customs, mental state presumptions ensures fairness, culpability ensures compliance with rules, presumptions apply across legal frameworks, legal enforcement strengthens through presumptions, prosecution succeeds with presumed intent, culpable mental state defines liability.